Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Hope Akedika show. I hope that you've had a lovely week and it's officially spring. Actually, I didn't even realize that the clocks was changing on Sunday. I just remember waking up feeling a little disoriented and looking at the time and thinking, that can't be right. And I actually didn't even know until the Monday. That's when I was like, do you know what? I understand why my body clock has been a little bit off since the day before. Now I get it. It's because the times has changed. The days are longer. It's still sunny outside. Like, it's the first time I've sat in this room recording and I can see daylight outside, guys. I love it here. I love me some sun. I love me some spring. I can't even lie. But I hope you've had a lovely week. And if you're on the live, please get involved in the chat. Say hi, a little wave. Just let me know that you're here so that we can interact with each other. And I can ask for you guys' opinion as well and your input on the things that I want to talk about today. And how's your week been anyway? My week has been, it's been meh, it's been alright, it's been alright. Like, it's not been anything interesting out of the ordinary, but it's been okay, yeah. Just looking forward to the summer though, looking forward to the barbecues, looking forward to seeing a bit more family. I think it's maybe not seeing people. I think that's what it is. I haven't really, when you live far and you have to, like, it's a trek to see your family or your loved ones. Obviously, I have my immediate family and then there's the extended family, but it's just, yeah, it's frustrating, it's annoying, but we move very soon. I will be enjoying a few celebrations. I got a few things coming up in my calendar. So if you guys got anything exciting coming up as well, let me know if you don't mind sharing. But guys, let's talk about it. I always want to remind you guys how we said we're going to hold Rishi Sunak accountable for the pledges that he made to the country when he got sworn into office. And honestly, I say we give him a little bit of a clap. Like, he's doing okay. He's actually doing okay. Like, the man was literally given a country that was at its lowest, and he's making the most out of it and he's making the best out of the situation. He's done so much already in a short couple of months. I don't care for the racists. I don't care for the anti-conservatives who are very much against anything the man does or says. He could literally pet a dog on the street and they would say he's only doing that for, and maybe he could be doing that, but they've all been doing it all these years. Everything they do is for show. Whether they're, having a lovely interaction like what he did, he congratulated Harry Kane on his being the top scorer in the whole UK. I think he's broken the record. I don't know if it's the UK or the world, but he's broken some kind of record in football. And he actually, did a FaceTime call with him to congratulate him and just to encourage him and say he's doing the country proud and he's a great role model to the country. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing. And, people still have something bad to say about that. You can't please everybody. At the end of the day, I think the man is doing okay. And these are one of the things that he's doing right now. He's talking about powering up Britain. Obviously, we give credit to the whole government body because they're all working together. So I'm just going to read quickly. We have seen what can happen when global energy supplies are disrupted, aka Russia invading Ukraine. The war that's happened has affected us. That's why energy prices have been affected, because a lot of our energy source did come from the outside coming in for a very long time. And, the UK has called for energy revolution, which was essentially, it was very much needed. Obviously, the war has shown us that you cannot rely on other countries and just, and not have a backup plan or have, something set in place in case of anything that could happen. Our energy security plan will drive down household bills long term. So the goal in the long term is to continue to reduce the electric bills that we're paying right now, and hopefully, we can see the benefits of that and reap the benefits of that. And 2030 are the dates that we've been given. So in the next couple of 5 years, hopefully by the time we've implemented a few, Britain supplied energy schemes, we'll start seeing those prices reducing. And yeah, I think it's a great thing. It's nothing we can really be can't be negative about it. They've told us what they're gonna do. You know, there's money there that's being put there and it's being invested. Hi Susanna, how are you, my love? How are you doing today? And I just want to say a happy birthday to my little. Do you know what? I'm gonna call her my goddaughter or my daughter. She's my best friend's daughter, so she feels like my own. And it was her birthday this week, and I can't believe she's 5 years old already. We call her our miracle baby because she came into this world with all the odds against her. But if you look at her now, gosh, she is a force of nature. I love you, baby girl. I hope you had a lovely week, and I hope you enjoy your trip to the zoo this week. But yeah, make sure you show her that, by the way. Make sure you show her that. Um, Back to what we were talking about. So the aim is to create more job opportunities through this scheme. So kickstarting investments into the UK emerging floating offshore wind industry. We're going to be seeing a lot more of that. 160 million fund to support the ports infrastructure projects that are going on, and that's just one of the few things that is happening in that sector. And also a lot of reducing the carbon. We've seen that with the cars, the fines that are implemented, and obviously a lot more is going to be done in that department as well. And yeah, so Energy Security Secretary Grant Sharp said, "We have seen over the past year what can happen when global energy supplies are disrupted. Access to cheap, abundant, and reliable energy provide the foundation stone for a thriving economy with our homes, businesses, and, yeah, that's very much true. Following our unprecedented cost of living support this winter, which continues, this plan now sets how we fix this problem." So we'll give the government some time to fix, like we said, we all saw what happened. We can't blame them. Apparently it was beyond their control, and we'll give them some time. They've readjusted, they've gone back to the drawing board, and they're trying to find the solutions for not a global, but an international energy crisis. I thought I saw a comment there. Oh, that's great. That's great. We love you, Ziva. Um, Moving on, guys. There's not a lot we can say about that because that's just another promise that's being made, and until we see the results of this, it's one of those other things that we're going to keep an eye on, and hopefully we can reap the results of that in the nearer future. Another topic that I always want to shed light on, and Rishi is also, and the government body is also working hard on, is tackling antisocial behavior. And this, I like the image that's been released here. It's if you guys can have a little read through. Introducing tougher punishments for perpetration, cracking down on illegal drugs, increasing police and... Oh, sorry, it keeps jumping on the screen. Let me see if I can... Here it is. I have an image in front of me. Higher fines for litter, graffiti, fly tipping. Oh, guys, recently I became part of a litter picking scheme in my local community. So you guys, you can very much search this up with your local council. You can literally get involved, give them a call or drop them an email and just say, I'm interested in helping out, and they provide you with the equipment, and there's a little bit of training because obviously litter picking might sound straightforward, but there's health and safety that go into it. And for me personally, I'm doing it because it's apart from doing something for my community, I'm also doing it as part of a community group that I'm involved in. So I just wanted to put that out there, guys. It's an option if you ever thought about it. It's something nice as well to ground the kids, to do with the children, and just show them the importance of taking care of their environment and just instilling those values there when possible. And this links back to one of the pledges the Prime Minister made when it came to reducing the crime rates in the UK, because the numbers have, broken record in what we've experienced in the past. The highest crime rate we've ever seen in the United Kingdom had been reported, and this scheme is also just part of what he had promised. And you know, I do hope this happens, because there has been so much desensitization with the youth. We've seen it, how they lack the empathy with one another, and we've seen how the antisocial behavior, even here where we are, like I believe last week somebody was literally set on fire on the street. It's just things like that. If there were tighter and stricter laws governing antisocial behavior, because antisocial behavior leads to that extreme crime that we see. And if they're not tackled right away, if you don't see a child behaving delinquently in school or at the age where they're still in the education system, and you don't tackle it the right way or appropriately, then you're likely to see that behavior escalating into something more serious. Because it starts with a little shoplifting. Your friend dared you, oh, you go into the shop, you grab that sweet, nobody caught you. And then next time they're vandalizing or they're graffitiing and destroying the environment again. It's just those not caring and having those values to protect or, conserve the environment. And then it leads to the other stuff, the more serious things, unfortunately, that we see many of our young men and women now, doing time for petty crimes, and even the more serious things, especially where it causes the harming, the stabbing, and all that stuff that, is more serious, because at that point it's psychological, it's mental. You can see that, yeah, the environment and the surrounding of those young people has affected them and how they behave towards one another. And, I really do hope that we can see better things implemented to help the youth and show them that they do have an option, that they don't have to go down that route. And it's very unfortunate, because the grooming starts very early on. As much as we want to protect our youth and look after them, the ones who are already in that environment, they're already watching them on the way to school. They're watching them, they know their routines, they know where to catch those kids. And a lot of people who have told their stories, they'll tell you, it started off with they bought me a meal after school. And there's actually a whole documentary that's been done, and it's to do with the chicken shop. And the chicken shop is a very common one, actually, where they target the children, because they know a lot of them after school, they want to grab something to eat, and they'll be there, guys, they'll be there waiting for the children, and they'll offer them a meal. "Oh, let me buy you, what do you want to eat?" And they'll treat the kids next time, and they're developing that trust. They're building that sense of, oh, I've done this for you, can you do me a little favor, can you go drop this for me here? Before you know it, they're sending these kids off to run their errands, and you know what these errands involve, and yeah, it's very unfortunate. But I think everybody should be involved in this scheme, to be honest, including people who do work in chicken shops. If you can see that there's a man who comes to your shop and they're there to groom kids, then don't allow them to do that, or don't allow them to have that opportunity to do that. If you feel like you cannot get involved or intercept, then seek advice, seek support, because at the end of the day, I know there's a distrust with the police, and everybody has their opinion on the police, but at the end of the day, we have to believe that they want to do their job and that they want to protect society and civilians, and take that negative notion of it's the people against the people against the force. It shouldn't be that way. Yes, it's very sad. It's incredibly sad. And I've actually been meaning to go and watch the documentary as well myself, because I really do want to educate myself on the matter. But I can just imagine how it goes. It actually makes a lot of sense when I think about it. A lot of people, a lot of my friends after school, they'd be like, oh, let's go grab a chip. Like, we lived by the chicken shop. Like, I didn't go to town a lot because I never had to go through that route to get home. And my route home was very straightforward. It was about a 15-minute walk. It was through mostly houses. I had to cross a bridge and then a park, and then I was home. But there are other kids who were exposed to town, to high streets, to, especially the town route and the high street routes. Those are the ones, those are the dangerous routes that a lot of children were being caught in that moment. Yes, it's for me, if just because you don't get involved or you don't contribute, I feel like people who try and say, well, I didn't do anything, but you're just a bystander, you're just watching what's happening, you're guilty. Like, if you don't think you're guilty, I'm sorry, but you are. You're enabling people to continue in a certain way. I'll try and find it. I can't think of the name right now, but it's to do with the chicken shop. Chicken shop is definitely in the name. It's like a documentary, just talking about that, children being groomed and recruited. I'll try and Google it and send it to you later, or I can even share it here next week. Actually, when I do find it, I'll drop it, the name, for anybody else who might hear what we're talking about today and think they actually want to go have a look at what I'm talking about. But guys, for our final story, I want to open our mind to a slightly wider discussion outside of the UK. And this one is very near and dear to my heart because it has to do with the continent of Africa. And Africa right now is in a position where it can negotiate for its future. And it has the upper hand, essentially, because of what's gone on in the Western world and what's gone on with the BRICS nations. They know that the next step that they take right now could either be their downfall, or could be what continues to build their countries, or their country to continue to thrive and grow. And for that to happen, Africa is very much needed in the equation. And here's why, guys. Let me just show you guys a quick video.
The United States is sending their vice president to Africa in an attempt to salvage Western relations with the continent, as America hopes to maintain Western influence over the various African nations while slowing down the influence of BRICS. This trip from the vice president will include Ghana, Tanzania, and Zambia, and follows French President Macron's friendship tour of Africa a few weeks prior. If you spent time in Africa, you have likely seen the massive infrastructure projects. The U.S. is hoping to use a charm offensive to convince the African countries to expand their relations with the Western world and reject future infrastructure and business deals from Russia and China. Each side is coming to the African nations with proposals. At this point, we can only speculate, as many of the negotiations are ongoing and all sides are tight-lipped. The BRICS nations, specifically Russia and China, are likely offering the various African leaders more energy infrastructure, transportation infrastructure, free grain, and help in developing African manufacturing, and of course, the ultimate goal of BRICS may be to cut off Western influence from Africa. The West will likely be a little less transparent. The West will offer foreign aid with strings attached, developmental loans from the World Bank, more American visa lotteries for the African citizens, and implied military protection for the leaders who play nice with Europe and America.
And there you have it, guys. If you ever thought, the Western world did their thing and left Africa and, there's no way more they can benefit from them, well, you're very wrong, because the Western world continues to profit from Africa and continues to thrive and build its economy, especially on Africa, and they're suffering, essentially. And the BRICS nations now, like China and Russia, over the past couple of years, maybe even over a decade now, they've turned to Africa and seen the potential Africa has, and they've gotten involved. Even Russia is heavily involved, and China heavily involved in countries like Namibia, and they're building their infrastructure. There's a lot going on. And even the UK, actually, this whole migrant scheme with Uganda is because they've built up Rwanda, especially certain parts of Rwanda have been built up. And, if you go to a country like that, because it's built up, the environment, it's looking like the Western world in some parts, even though there obviously other parts don't necessarily replicate the Western world. And I go back to say this because obviously, the Western world, even though Russia and China, they're not the Western world, but they are, they're higher up than where Africa is, which is the northern part of the whole world. And I don't know, like, who do I feel safer? Who do I feel like, could work with Africa and actually be a two-way streak and both parties benefit from, these collaborations, or whether, what do we call them? I don't know. We can call them collaborations, I guess, because they'll be working together essentially. Why is China building in Africa? Why is China so interested in the infrastructure of Africa? Why is Russia interested in the transportation routes of Africa? Why are they interested in that? Whereas America, why are you interested in, the migrant situation and the visas? Why are you happy to supply more visas even though you complain of migrants in your country? And let's never be naive about the situation. We hear in the news so much about how the African continent relies on the Western world, and people who flee to the Western world all the time, and they're seeking for, for status in the Western world. And you have all these negative connotations, and you think it's just another reliant continent relying on your country and taking from your country and your continent, but it's not the case necessarily. This is going to be one of the things that shows the world how important Africa is to the growth of everything else that we see in the world. It's very much important, and I really, really do hope that Africa takes their time with this and they don't just jump into any kind of deal out of desperation, maybe out of people just wanting to have jobs as quickly as possible, or people just wanting to be able to come to the Western world and being able to come and further their education in America or the United Kingdom or wherever else. I really do hope that they have a long-term vision and they can foresee how this will impact them in the long run. And I kind of favoring towards the BRICS, because how many times are we going to trust the Western world? Are we going to be able to trust them this time around? Do they come with the right intentions? Are they actually going to negotiate with us as equals, or do they continue to see us as the thing that they can just continue to take from and benefit from, and leave us in the same position they found us, or probably even in a worse state? Let me know what you think. I don't know. Obviously, it's we don't have a lot of information because it's been kept from us. They're being very hush-hush about their intentions and, the negotiations. But I really do hope that the African people, they are aware of what's going on in all the countries, because even now, the Vice President of America will be visiting 3 countries there that were mentioned, I believe, Tanzania, Ghana, and Zambia. And I really hope that the people are equipping themselves with the information and the knowledge that they need. I'm not just talking about the government, because the thing about our government is I know they're educated, and these people, they went to the best schools in the world. Is whether they're going to allow their greed to continue to feed them, or whether they're going to decide, for the first time, or maybe let's do what benefits our country as a whole, and not just benefit us, the elite of the countries, the elites of the country, and they actually think about the development of the whole nation instead of just fattening their pockets a little bit more, being able to send their kids to the best private schools in the world. And this is one, like, Nigeria is a very big example of this. Unfortunately, you will see people, the politicians, their kids, they're living out here in the Western world. A lot of them are celebrities. They are amongst the celebrities, and they went to the top schools. One just graduated from Oxford. I'm not naming any people, but the point is, you can have all that, but your country is not doing well. Like, your people are suffering at the end of the day, but you're happy to continue to feed your own pockets and live like the Westerners, at the cost of your people, at the cost of other people's lives. So yeah, I am very much here for this revolution. I'm calling it a revolution because I really do hope in the next, over the next decade, we can see some changes, you know, some roles changing, some roles being reversed. And, you know, I don't wish bad on the Western world. Hey, look where I'm sitting, you know. However, everybody can win, everybody can eat. There's enough for everybody. And I am one of those people who genuinely believes that, you know, we've been fed all these ideas about, oh, we lack of resources, you know, and all these things. There's shortage of this. We're overpopulated. No, there's plenty, plenty. There's just people hoarding. That's what's going on. There's plenty to go around for everybody, and it doesn't even come in the form of money, because money was created by people, by man, you know, the paper that was created by man. But I'm talking about the resources, the ability to give people the resources to be able to plant their own food and, you know, educate themselves and stop the propaganda and stop the lies, stop teaching people things that are not true and twisting history. Instead, give people the truth and the information that they need to build themselves and free themselves and liberate themselves. Okay, guys, you know, feeling a little revolutionary right now, you know, but it has to be said honestly, and people will be like, oh, you know, that's so sweet, and you know, we love that spirit. No, it's, these words need to become life now. They can't just be, we can't continue speaking about these things. It's not right. And you know, a lot of the history that we've been taught that's been manipulated, their apology needs to be given for these things. Like, we can't, the people are still very much alive, or their lineage are still alive. Queen Elizabeth's lineage is still alive. They still have time to apologize to people and tell them, we're sorry we stole your history from you and twisted it and gave you the wrong information, but I'm not expecting them to give us the truth, but at least liberate the people, free the people. Even all these Commonwealth countries, the whole Commonwealth just needs to be dissolved, because they don't benefit from being part of the Commonwealth, other than the fact that the royal family can just name all these countries under their belt. For what? You know, for what? They don't benefit from being part of the Commonwealth. They still struggle to get visas to come to this country. So why do they have to be proud Commonwealthers? They don't want to be owned by anyone. They don't want to have to owe anyone anything. They just want to be their own people and be liberated. But, you know, here we are. It's the world we live in. And hopefully that we can see some change come from that. But guys, thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. It's been great, even for myself. Even as I talk about these things, I'm actually talking to myself as well, you know. Like, and I really do hope that in due time I can build relations with the right people to have these conversations with, and you know, spread the message as well, and just, you know, get these conversations going, because these are the important conversations that will change the things that we see and experience in today's world. But for today, guys, have a blessed evening and a lovely weekend, and I will be seeing you here next week on the Hope Akedika show.